Have you ever wondered why some AI models can just chew through incredibly complex problems, while others, well, they just get stuck? It's a huge puzzle in AI research. Today, we're diving into a fascinating discovery that shows the secret isn't just about more power, it's about the very shape of the problem itself.
So this is the big question, right? Why does one type of AI hit a wall, while another, with just a small change in its design, seems to just keep on learning, getting smarter and smarter? The answer is, well, it's way cooler than you might think, and it has some massive implications for how we build these things. So let's meet our two contenders. On one side, you've got your standard transformer. It's the workhorse, it's fast, but it has its limits. And on the other side, we have this looped transformer. Its whole deal is this recursive looping design, and it consistently runs circles around the standard model on really tough reasoning tasks. The big mystery for a long time was why? And that performance gap really sets the stage for our puzzle, a tale of two transformers. Researchers knew that this looping thing was the key, but they couldn't figure out how that simple structural change led to such a huge jump in reasoning. It was time to play detective. First up, the standard model. Now, this one processes information in a fixed number of steps. You can think of it like reading a chapter in a book, just once. You get the gist, you get the main ideas, and it's super quick. But for those really deep, tricky concepts, yeah, it tends to hit a ceiling. Now, take a look at the looped transformer. This one is a whole different beast. Instead of just one pass, it recursively processes the information. It loops back on itself, refining its understanding over and over again. It's kind of like rereading a really difficult paragraph until, bam, it finally clicks. Now, this process is a bit slower, but it's the secret sauce to its incredible problem-solving skills. So to crack this puzzle, researchers had to dig in and see how these two AIs actually learn. They watched them, tracked their progress, and the differences they spotted were the first major clues to figuring this whole thing out. And here is clue number one. It's a big one. This chart tells the whole story of their learning process. See that blue line? That's our standard AI. It learns the easy problems like a champ, and then it just flatlines. It gets totally stuck. But look at the orange line, the looped AI. It also nails the easy stuff, but then it just keeps on climbing, making steady progress on the really tough problem. The researchers who figured this out put it perfectly. The standard AI just stops. It learns the simple stuff, and that's it. Game over. But the looped AI, it's like it's on its own little two-phase curriculum. First, it masters the basics, and then it uses that as a foundation to tackle the really complex stuff. Their entire approach to learning is fundamentally different. And this realization led them to something even bigger. The difference wasn't just in the learning process itself, it was in the very terrain the AI had to navigate. The second clue was that each AI was basically solving a completely different version of the problem, a different learning landscape. And this brings us to the absolute core idea of this whole discovery, this concept of a landscape of learning. It's a powerful metaphor, and once you get it, everything else just falls into place. I want you to imagine that training an AI is like trying to find the lowest point in a massive, sprawling, mountainous landscape. That lowest point, the very bottom of the deepest valley, that represents the perfect solution to the problem. The AI's whole job is to navigate this terrain and find its way all the way down. But here's the real mind-bender. The AI isn't just exploring some landscape that's already there. No, its own internal architecture, whether it's a standard model or a looped one, actually creates the landscape it has to solve. The shape of the problem is literally defined by the tool trying to solve it. So if these two AIs are building their own different landscapes, what do they look like? This is the big reveal. This is where we see how a flat valley versus a steep valley makes all the difference in the world. Okay, check this out. On the left, that's the landscape our standard AI creates. Researchers call it a U-valley. See how it's wide and pretty flat on the bottom? Now on the right, that's the V-valley from the looped AI. It's a steep, narrow canyon. And trust me, that shape difference is everything. So let's follow the journey of the standard AI. It makes great time at first, heading down those gentle slopes. Easy peasy. But the moment it hits that wide, flat valley floor, it gets completely lost. There's no clear path forward. The gradients are too weak, so it just wanders around aimlessly, totally unable to find a deeper solution. This is what the researchers call being trapped in a flat valley. But now, look at the V-valley. The looped AI's journey is a whole different story.
The steep, narrow cliffs of the canyon actually force the AI to bounce and ricochet from side to side. This valley hopping, as they call it, keeps it from ever getting stuck. The canyon walls are constantly guiding it, pushing it further down that narrow channel at the bottom toward better and better solutions.
So let's just boil this down. The U-Valley, it leads to a dead end. You get some fast learning right at the beginning, but then stagnation. The V-Valley, though, creates this dynamic valley hopping that forces the AI to keep exploring, to keep digging deeper. And that right there explains perfectly why the looped AI just never gets stuck. Now, understanding all this isn't just some neat academic thought experiment. It has a real, tangible payoff. Because once the researchers knew this, they could come up with a completely new, much smarter way to train AI models. They had a eureka moment. They realized they could get the best of both worlds. They could use the incredible speed of the standard AI and the deep learning power of the looped AI by just combining them into one clever strategy. They call it the shift strategy, and it's brilliant. Step 1, you start fast. You use a standard AI to get down that valley quickly and learn all the simple stuff. Then, step 2, you switch gears. Once the low-hanging fruit is picked, you transition the model into a looped AI. This literally reshapes the landscape into that V-Valley, and it can start valley hopping to find those deeper, more complex solutions. And the result of this incredibly clever strategy? A pretty impressive 1.26 times speed up in training. And just to put that into perspective, a 26% speed up is a huge deal. In the world of AI, where training models can take weeks and cost a small fortune, making things 26% more efficient is a massive win. And the best part? They did it without losing any performance at the end. All right, so let's quickly recap the big takeaways here. First, the AI's own design literally shapes the problem it's trying to solve. Second, a flat U-shaped landscape is a trap that can stop an AI in its tracks. Third, a steep V-shaped landscape forces a kind of hopping that leads to much deeper learning. And finally, by understanding all this, we can mix and match both for way faster and way smarter training. And that leaves us with a pretty incredible final thought, doesn't it? This research proves that we can be intentional architects of the worlds our AIs learn in. So if we can consciously design the very landscapes of their challenges, what other amazing, undiscovered solutions could we guide them to find next?